Commander is Magic the Gathering's most popular format for many reasons. It's the quintessential casual format, giving players the ability to play fun, varied games of Magic whenever they want, without needing to sign up for an official tournament. 100-card Singleton is a great way to show off your collection, and the multiplayer nature means you get to involve more of your friends in a single game than you would in a 1v1 competitive match. If you want to build powerful, optimized decks, you can. If you want to build silly theme decks, you can. If you are brand new, you can sit down and play with friends more easily than any other format. And yes, Commander is a format that has received a ton of attention from Wizards of the Coast over the past several years, ever since the company recognized that this growing popularity has made Commander into a cash cow for them. And yet, for all of its positives, there are also many problems in Commander. Anyone who's ever played a game will tell you, yeah, there are some serious flaws, and many of these issues are the subject of frequent debates, as many Magic the Gathering players disagree on how best to deal with them. While some players may even disagree that some of these issues are issues at all, I feel they are worth exploring, and so in this video, I'm going to talk about what I feel are the 5 absolute worst things about Commander. I want to discuss why these issues happen, what makes them problematic, and what, if anything, can be done to solve them. Now, obviously, any list about problems in Commander is subjective and somewhat personal, and this list is no different. However, to try and keep this a fair, analytical approach, this video will say that in order to qualify for our list, a problem must be something inherent to the game of Commander itself, rather than a behavior that a problem player might exhibit or the result of a poor play on someone's part. In other words, I want to focus on the format of Commander, not the annoying types of players you may encounter in Commander. If you want to see me talk about the different kinds of problem players in Commander, check out this video here or linked in the video description. All right, get your all the professor does is complain comments ready, because we've got a lot to criticize today. We're talking the problems with Commander. Let's get started. But first wait a minute. Something's wrong. What am I wearing? Where's my tie? Where's my vest? This is my worst nightmare. Oh, it's a scary nightmare. Is it still there? It's still there. My personality is still there. It must have just been a stress dream induced by my lackadaisical choice of a slumber position. I guess I really need to do something about getting a better night's sleep, which means I need today's sponsor, Helix. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. I really did used to have problems with sleep like we were joking about in the skit, but no more, because ever since I switched to sleeping on a Helix mattress, I have never had a more refreshing night's sleep, except maybe in my 20s. Oh, I miss my 20s. Helix also offers their signature sleep quiz, which matches you to your perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. It takes the hassle out of the mattress buying process in just a few easy questions. But Professor, what if you're scared of commitment, you might ask? Well, Helix offers a 100-night sleep trial to test your mattress out and ensure you love it. And also, you should work on that fear of commitment thing you've got going on. It's okay to be vulnerable, I promise. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, getting a better night's sleep with Helix. You know, you spend over 1/3 of your life on a bed, so make it the best it can possibly be with Helix Sleep. And if back to school season has got you thinking about upgrading your kid's room, then the Helix Kids mattress is a great option. Just visit helixsleep.com/Tolarian Community College to take advantage of their Labor Day sale exclusive partner offer, 27% off site-wide. With savings this big, you'd think it was all just a dream. Or is it? But it's not a dream, it's Helix Sleep, and thank you for sponsoring this video. The first thing wrong with Commander actually stems from my love of playing Commander, and it's that there's just no good way to play Commander online. Now, technically speaking, there are ways of playing it online, but also technically, I specifically said there are no good ways of playing it online. There are webcam clients like Spelltable, which probably get the closest to capturing the magic, no pun intended, of sitting down to play Commander with your friends, but it just isn't quite the same. To play this way, everyone is going to need to have an overhead camera, good lighting, good internet, obviously a computer, desk space. The requirements are many, and in the end, you are left with a low resolution and often glare-filled video feed of every board state you're supposed to be keeping up with. Not to mention the pain of trying to resolve a card like Gitaxian Probe without everyone at the table seeing your opponent's hand, or playing commanders like Tasha the Witch Queen that require you to take control of your opponent's cards. Nonetheless, I do think Spelltable is one of the best ways to play Commander online. I not only have a video covering how to get started on it, but I also have an entire Discord set up so that people can find free games of webcam Commander online. If you are interested in joining the Discord, I will include links to it in this video's description. So yes, webcam Commander via Spelltable may not be perfect, but it's probably as good as online play for the format gets. And then, of course, there are truly digital clients like Magic the Gathering Online or Cockatrice, which allow you to play the aforementioned cards with fewer issues, but then new problems crop up in their place. These digital Commander experiences remove the most important aspect of what makes a Commander game special, the social aspect. When you are playing Commander in person with your friends, or heck, even with strangers, you automatically enter into a sort of social contract. Every play you make, every attack you declare, and every board wipe you cast is being made in the face of real people. This causes you to consider the human and emotional response to the decisions you are making, and it is the heart of what makes Commander a fun social experience. Replacing those opponents with digital ones who you can't see or hear removes this consideration. Not only have you completely removed the social element from this social game, but you can't even tell if casting that farewell made anyone upset, because as soon as the game is over, your opponents will be out of your life forever. Sure, you can just queue into a new game immediately and traumatize the next group of unsuspecting Commander players, but it just isn't the same. Also, it looks like butt. Sorry for the strong language there, but playing Commander on any of the digital clients, not just Magic Online, looks like absolute butt. It is slow and awkward and grueling. And if there is truly a hell, and I am headed to it, then what awaits me is an eternity of playing Commander against strangers on Magic Online. There really is no good digital client for playing Commander, and maybe creating one is an impossible task. There will likely never be Commander on Arena, and even if there were, what do you envision that could even look like? Regardless, this lack of a sufficient digital play space to quickly and easily fire off a pod with your friends, both near and far, is one of my biggest gripes with the format, but it is not my only one. It's a tale as old as Commander itself, the question of how to balance deck power levels at the table. It's the origin of the joke, my deck is about a 7. It's the reason behind the bracket system that Wizards of the Coast introduced after taking over the format, and with all due respect to the bracket system, which I spent about half a dozen videos covering and explaining and even encouraging as best I could, it's a problem that can't really ever truly be solved. Simply put, if you sit down at a Commander table with players you don't know or don't know well, you run a significant risk that the decks everyone brought to battle with don't line up well against one another. It's very common for one player to bring something either significantly stronger or significantly weaker than the rest of the table. Disparity in power levels is one of the biggest issues that plagues Commander, but it doesn't rank higher on the list because there are a few mitigating factors. First of all, to some extent, games of Commander are capable of self-regulating. If one player at the table has a stronger deck than the other 3 players, there is some ability for those other 3 players to team up, so to speak, to keep the most threatening deck at bay. Gosh, am I the most threatening player in every game of Commander that I've ever played? I must be. Of course, this strategy is only partially effective. If a deck is significantly stronger than the other 3 decks, it might be capable of taking on the whole table on its own without much difficulty. Furthermore, even if the rest of the table is capable of containing the strongest deck when they work in tandem, this solution breaks the spirit of Commander to some extent. Commander is a free-for-all game. So if a game turns into a legitimate 3v1 out of necessity, that's not exactly a positive outcome, but it is, let's be honest, a very common outcome. It's just how Commander works. Which brings me to the heart of this point, which is that even more than a power level disparity problem, Commander has an expectations disparity problem. The simplest way to explain what I mean by this is that it's very possible for 4 players to sit down at a table to play the same game of Commander with wildly different ideas as to how that game should look. One player might be there to win at all costs, while another might be there hoping every deck gets to do something cool. One player might hate interaction or counter magic, or just the entire color blue, while another player loves playing control. One player might hate stacks pieces of any kind, while the other thinks the limitations they enact make for fun, in the trenches style gameplay. One of the most beautiful things about the game of Magic is there are many, many different ways to play it, and by playing it, express yourself. The 5 colors, the 10 color pairs, and the 10 color trios give players access to unique gameplay experiences, and naturally become a kind of identity for those players. Commander is, at its best, an exercise in self-expression. But the dark flip side to enthusiastic self-expression is a narrow lens of what's acceptable. If I think a good game of Commander is one where everyone's deck does its thing, and you think a good game of Commander is one where every player is trying their best to win as quickly as possible, those are 2 irreconcilable viewpoints. One of us is going to come out of the game disappointed. All of this is to say that there's no easy solution for the power level or expectation disparity problems. I just don't think any number of brackets or game changers can ever truly solve it. These are just problems that are baked into the format's identity at this point. The only fail-proof workaround is to only play Commander with your playgroup and to also be really, really good at communicating with that playgroup. But not everyone even has a regular playgroup, and even those that do don't have a playgroup that is sufficiently large or diverse enough to avoid the pitfall of playing the same games over and over again. As such, these disparities remain one of the biggest problems with Commander. The next biggest problem with Commander is the role that table politics play in this game. Now, we all do politics to some extent. Don't attack me this turn, and I won't kill your commander next turn. Or kill this problem permanent for me, and I'll kill you last. There are so many examples of commander politics at this point, but they all essentially amount to the same thing. Make a suboptimal choice that benefits me, and I'll make a suboptimal choice that benefits you. While a kind of tit-for-tat gameplay is inevitable in a multiplayer free-for-all game, in Commander, finding yourself on the wrong end of an in-game political exchange can often leave a sour taste in your mouth. The existence of politics in Commander creates a facet of the game that has nothing to do with the rules of Magic or Commander. Oftentimes, a deal at the table will benefit players who are ahead to the detriment of those who are behind. That might seem like a claim that's hard to make absent of context, but think about it for a moment. What do most political exchanges look like in Commander? If we accept that politics is a means of avoiding getting hit, either with removal in combat or by some creature's ability, then one of the main times it would be really necessary to propose a deal would be when you would be the target of aggression absent a deal. And just when would you be the target of aggression? Well, by the principle I laid out in my video on threat assessment, which I'll link in the comments below, the answer is when you're the threat. The problem with politics has a similar result as the problem of poor threat assessment, though they get to that result via different means. Poor threat assessment is a mistake in player judgment, whereas politics tend to suggest more savvy player judgment. But either way, both cases often end up with a player who is behind getting the short end of the stick. The biggest problem with politics lies in incentives. Playing well in Commander means using politics to your advantage. If you want to win a game of Commander, you'll probably need to engage in politics at some point or another. Therefore, as with many issues on this list, the problem of politics is an inextricable aspect of the game of Commander. And that's a bummer, because it would be nice if players didn't have to engage with a pseudo-barter system in order to play Magic's most popular format. So what are the 2 biggest problems that I see with the Commander format? Commander is a 100-card singleton format, but that's not actually true, because it's really a 99-card singleton format, since pretty much every Commander deck, and I do mean every Commander deck, has to have a Soul Ring. Actually, it's a 98-card singleton format because you're also going to want an Arcane Signet. And if you're a black deck, then you're kind of a 97-card singleton format because of course you're going to want to include a Demonic Tutor as well. And I guess that's not even an accurate number either, since pretty much every black deck should be running Deadly Rollick, right? And I suppose Toxic Deluge, Vampiric Tutor, oh, and Black Market Connections, of course. And yeah, if you're in black, you also need to include the Soul Stone, right? Gotta have Magic the Gathering's Marvel's Spider-Man's The Soul Stone featuring Thanos if you are in black. Oh, and also, you get the point. Increasingly, Commander has become plagued by generically powerful, best-in-slot cards that are slowly strangling the creativity and self-expression out of the 99s of optimized Commander decks. It didn't always used to be this way. When Commander was first picking up in popularity, very few cards could be considered auto-includes in Commander. You had some, of course, like Mystic Remora, Rhystic Study, and Mana Drain in blue decks. White decks would probably almost always run cards like Swords to Plowshares and Wrath of God, probably Mother of Runes back in the day, and so on and so forth. But the Teferi's Protections and Smothering Tithes and Esper Sentinels? I have to cut myself off there because it would be easy to spend the entire video simply listing the generically powerful cards that have entered the Commander card pool over the past 5 or so years. Now, while there's no actual rule in Commander deck building that says you must include the must-includes, that doesn't mean their existence isn't a real issue, or that the cards don't exert an influence on the game even if you yourself choose not to run them. That's because even if you opt out of them, your opponents might not. It can also be hard for some players to turn off that voice in their head that says there's a better option for a given slot than the one they're running. I try my best to build around my Commander, filling the various roles my deck needs with cards that specifically synergize or relate to my Commander's game plan. Nature's Lore, for instance, is a more powerful ramp spell than Sakura Tribe Elder, but Sakura Tribe Elder is a stronger card in a Meren of Clan Neltoth deck. But these kinds of choices are not always possible. There's not really a replacement for Teferi's Protection, or Deflecting Swat for that matter, and there's certainly no replacement for Bolas's Citadel. One of the initial joys of Commander was giving players the opportunity to play with cards that didn't see much play in traditional constructed formats. Dredging up old and esoteric cards to run in your deck is a rewarding experience that has become harder and harder with each new set. And it's a shame because honestly, it's far too late to put the toothpaste back in the tube. The tube is still oozing out newer and stronger toothpaste at an extraordinary rate. As I look at all of these problems in Commander, I see one unifying issue. There is really only one major problem with Commander that most of these other issues, and probably the ones that I haven't even mentioned, fall under. And that's simply that Magic the Gathering was not designed for Commander. Not only is the fact that Magic was not designed for Commander our number one problem with the format, but it's also an issue that cannot be solved because it's an inherent aspect of the very nature of casual, community-created gameplay. Magic the Gathering simply was not designed with Commander in mind. That's true both in the sense that there are cards like Sorin Markov, which can immediately make target opponent's life total become 10, the infamous Rhystic Study, which needs no explanation, and Fire Covenant that are not remotely balanced around Commander life totals, or gameplay pace, and more broadly in the sense that the spirit of the format is at odds with the intended goals of the game. In the last point, I talked about differing expectations, but there is one expectation that has become the prevailing attitude at most Commander tables. A good game is one where everyone's deck does its thing. This expectation becoming the norm makes sense given that Commander is a casual, social format, but there's a downside to it. Magic the Gathering is a game oriented towards winning. When you take a game that was designed with winning in mind and play it like winning is secondary, you're going to run into some problems. As it stands, Winning is the only objective of a game of Commander that's, well, objective. All the other objectives that many Magic the Gathering players play towards are subjective. Did everyone have fun? Did everyone do their thing? These are not clearly defined metrics to evaluate the game with. When you put the goal of winning in the back seat, the game becomes amorphous. Games that end quickly are considered failures. But games that go on too long drive everyone insane. Games without interaction are one note, while games with too much interaction grind to a halt. Playing to win at all costs is frowned upon. And yet games do need to end, right? Someone needs to win. One of our most infamous episodes of Shuffle Up and Play is where Kyle Hill slams down a 2-card combo and wins on the spot. The comments were outraged. "You're not supposed to win like that," the majority of people said. Do you know how ridiculous I felt saying to Kyle Hill when he returned, "Hey, by the way, try not to win like that"? "Like what?" he asked. "You know, like that." As a result of these competing pressures, Commander has become the most arbitrary way to play Magic. Some win conditions are considered acceptable while others are not. Some interaction is considered acceptable while other interaction is not considered acceptable. Some broken mana rocks are integral to format integrity, while others are relegated to CEDH. Ironically, making Commander be about subjectively having fun more than about winning leads to more conflict than there would be if the objective was objective. Tension is just baked into the format's goals. Play optimally, but not too optimally. Try to win, but don't try too hard to win. Make good deck building choices, but don't make too good of deck building choices. I'm sorry, what? Ensuring that everyone has a good time in a game of Commander is an impossible task, and yet for most players, it's the only task that matters. How do you reconcile this? My feeling is you can't. You just have to do the best you can to make the game fun, and trust everyone else to do the same. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Commander is essentially a broken format. It only works when everyone at the table pretends that it works. Now, you might think that because I've been talking about all of Commander's weaknesses for this whole video that I'm being needlessly critical of a format that many people love, and myself included in that. But the truth is actually the opposite. Commander is Magic's most popular format in spite of these inherent issues. It is a testament to Magic that a community-designed format rose to prominence as the most popular way to play the game. Magic the Gathering is not only the best game ever designed, it's also the best game system ever designed. It is a game system so good that it can be warped into something it was never intended to do, and come out even more popular than it was initially conceived. So yes, there are many problems with Commander, many that I didn't list here that you may want to list in the comments below, but the biggest problem with Commander is just that I'm not playing it right now, because I'd really like to be. And if you would like to join in that joy with me, you can check out our latest episode of Shuffle Up and Play, where even Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic the Gathering players, we got MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! On to play Commander and have a great time. That episode, click the I or whatever, or linked in this video's description.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players!
My name's Joseph, and today I have built Hogak.
You can also tell he's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player because he called it Hogak.
What do you all call it?
Hogak.
Very fancy.
Summer of the Gak.
DEI is alive and well at Tellurian Community College. We're giving job opportunities to Yu-Gi-Oh! Players.
I get transfer credits for this, don't worry.
I was very bored during COVID lockdown.
Let's
Let's go.
when Prof is doing well.
Put him up.
Avison, Angel of Hope. Oh, my queen.
We literally have assigned a member of staff to making sure Tappy doesn't screw up her own Commander's life tracking.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
It's like when you
Yeah,
train
yeah.
dogs.
Appreciate that half the table is clicker trained with White Claw.